Hello everyone, today let's do part 2 of 2 stories about flying from class 10 book First Flight. The second part of this chapter, which is labeled as The Black Aeroplane, is written by Frederick Forsyth. It is actually a mysterious story where a black aeroplane mysteriously comes near the narrator's plane and helps him come out of a huge storm, and then after that it suddenly disappears. Let's read this mysterious story, The Black Aeroplane, written by Frederick Forsyth, in today's session. After the explanation, I'll summarize, tell you the significance of the title, the moral given by the story, and of course the question answers at the end. Let's jump in and start off with the author. Frederick McCarthy Forsyth was born on 25th August 1938 in Ashford, UK. He is an English novelist and journalist who writes crime fiction and thrillers. He is best known for thrillers such as The Day of the Jackal, The Odessa File, The Fourth Protocol, The Dogs of War, The Afghan, The Cobra, The Devil's Alternative, The Fist of God, Icon, The Veteran, Avenger, and The Kill List. By 2006, he had sold more than 70 million books in more than 30 languages. His name frequently appeared on bestsellers list. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars are shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch. 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris Control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris Control, Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England. Over. The pilot was flying an aeroplane. This aeroplane was named as Dakota DS-088. It was an old aeroplane. He was going over France back to England. It was night time. There was moon behind him in the east, and there were stars shining in the clear sky above him. There was not a single cloud in the sky, so the sky was very clear. No storm clouds or rain clouds like anything. He was happy. He was happy because he was going back to his family, and he looked forward to that holiday which he was going to have with his family. He looked at his watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. He called the Paris radio control and he told them that he was on his way to England. And now let's read ahead. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS-088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088, over. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. Compass is an instrument which tells us about the directions. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. When the pilot had passed a message to the radio control that he was over Paris, then he got a reply that he should turn 12 degrees west to reach England. And that's what he did. He checked his map, he checked the compass, he switched over to his second and last fuel tank. These Dakota airplanes have two fuel tanks. The first tank was already empty, and now the pilot had switched over to the second and the last fuel tank, which means he did not have too much of fuel left with him. But it was enough for him to reach England. He thought that when he'll reach home, he will have a great time with his family. He'll be in time for breakfast, and he really wanted to relish that big English breakfast. Everything was going well, the flight was really easy. He had left Paris behind him about 150 kilometers, and then at that moment he saw big clouds in front of him. They appeared from nowhere. They were storm clouds, and they were as big as mountains. Now, at this point of time, the pilot was in a dilemma. He had two options: either to go back to Paris because he did not have much fuel, so that he could take a round either in the north or in the south direction and then reach England, or go straight into the storm and reach England. But the thought of going back home and getting back home on time for breakfast really attracted him. So he decided to take the risk and he went straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Paris control? Paris control, can you hear me? There was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. Then, in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings.